Who desires to true valor see, let him come hither. Such a one will constant be. Come wind, come weather. There's no discouragement that makes him even once relent his first declared intent to be a pilgrim, who hem all round with dismal stories that themselves confound his strength all the more. No lion can cause him fright, he'll even with a giant fight, but he will have a right to be a pilgrim. Hobgoblin nor foul fiend can daunt his spirit. He knows that at the end he shall life inherit. Then fancies fly away. He'll not fear what men say. He'll labor night and day to be a pilgrim. By this time they arrived at the enchanted ground, where the air naturally tended to make a person drowsy. It was totally overgrown with briars and thorns, except for here and there in the area where an enchanted arbor stood. If a man sat or fell asleep in this arbor, some say it raises the question of whether or not they shall ever rise or wake up again in this world. They went through this forest, with Mr. Greatheart leading the way, for he was the guide after all. Mr. Valiant for Truth followed behind as a rear guard, in case some fiend, dragon, giant, or thief should assault them from behind. Each man walked with his sword drawn in his hand, for they all knew it was a dangerous place. Also, they cheered one another up the best they could. Greatheart commanded Feeble-mind to come up behind him and placed Mr. Despondency under Valiant for Truth's watchful care. Now, they had not gone far when a vast misty darkness fell over them. For a great while they could scarcely see one another. For some time they were forced to feel their way and call out to one another, because they couldn't see where they were going. One might think it was miserable going for the best of them at that. It was even worse for the women and children, whose feet and hearts were tender. But Greatheart encouraged them on from the front, and Valiant for Truth did the same from behind, so that they walked along at a pretty good pace. The way grew very wearisome, and took them through dirt and mire. There was no inn or house in the area to feed them, or offer the feebler pilgrims refreshment. For this reason, they walked along with much grunting, puffing, and sighing. One tumbled over a bush, and another stuck fast in the dirt. One cried out, "I've fallen down," and another, "The bushes have caught me and hold me fast. I can't get away from them." And another would answer, "Where are you?" Some of them even lost their shoes in the mire. Then they arrived at the arbor, which offered warm and promising refreshment to the weary pilgrims. It was formed of fine wrought iron, with beautiful greens overhead, and furnished with welcoming benches and other seating, including a soft couch, perfect for the weary to rest upon. With all things considered, you might think this tempted the pilgrims to stop and rest, because their journey had become fraught with difficulties. But not even one of them made a move to stop there, and from what I could tell, they continually paid attention to the advice of their guide, and he faithfully warned them of the various dangers present. Usually, When they were nearest to them, the pilgrims boosted one another's spirits and encouraged each other to deny the flesh. This arbor was called Slothful's Friend, and was made purposely to allure, if possible, some of the pilgrims, so they would stop and rest when weary. I saw them in my dream as they went over this lonely, enchanted ground, until they came to a place where a man could even more easily lose his way. Now, when it was light, their guide could tell them how to miss those ways that led them astray. But in the dark, the difficulties brought him to a standstill. He had a map of all ways leading to or from the celestial city in his pocket. So he lit a light to view the map or his book, which told him to be careful and to make a right-hand turn. And if he had not been careful to check his map, they would in all probability have been smothered in the mud. For just a little before them, at the end of the cleanest way, was a pit. No one knew how deep it was, for it was full of nothing but mud, and had been put there purposely to destroy the pilgrims who fell into it. I thought to myself, whoever goes on pilgrimage should have one of these maps with him, so that he may look at it when he comes to a standstill, so he can see what way he must take. Then they went on through this enchanted ground until they came to where there was another arbor, but it was built along the side of the road. In that arbor 2 men lay whose names were Heedless and Too Bold. These 2 had gone this far on pilgrimage, but after growing weary on their journey, sat down to rest, and had fallen fast asleep. When the pilgrims saw them, they stood still and shook their heads, for they could see the sleepers were in a pitiful state. Then they talked over what they should do, whether to go on and let them sleep, or to try to awaken them. So they decided to go to them and awaken them if they could. However, they approached with caution and took care not to dare to sit down or embrace any benefit offered by that arbor. So they went to the arbor and spoke to the men. They called each other one by his name, for Greatheart seemed to know who they were, but the 2 men did not stir or answer. Then Greatheart shook them and did whatever he could to wake them. Without waking, one of them said, "I will pay you when I receive my money." Greatheart shook his head. "I will fight so long as I can hold my sword in my hand," the other said. At that, one of the children laughed. Then Christiana asked, "What is the meaning of this?" Greatheart said, "They talk in their sleep. If you strike them, beat them, or whatever else you do to them, they will answer you in this manner. A long time ago, one of them said, when the waves of the sea beat upon him, he slept upon the mast of a ship. And you will be like one who lies down in the middle of the sea, or like one who lies down on the top of a mast. They struck me, but I did not become ill. They beat me, but I did not know it. When shall I awake? I will seek another drink." Proverbs chapter 23, verses 34 to 35. When I awaken, I will seek it yet again. So